So, I was set to record the rest of these lines, and I got even more shady information sent to me, which, when I went to town to investigate, turns out, yeah, it's true. So, that's now got to be added to this review and or, at this point, documentary. So if you want to just see the final verdict, just skip to like 5 minutes before the end, as I'm sure you can tell by the length of this video. This is going to be a real long one, and now I've got to change lines as they might not even be right anymore because of Inafune's bullshit. So sit back and enjoy a more Jimquisition style of video as we go through what can only be described as a review and Steam Sleaze story. So I'll start off with the new shady information that has come out. Turns out Mighty No.9 has had an attempted fifth delay, and over here in England, it fucking worked! Because, starting with America, they hit the trailer's release date of today, June 21st, and everyone rushed to the stores to get it. It's finally here! Only, in some cases, it was not. I've got some reports of people just walking in and buying it, and others saying they had to ask for it as the store owners had no release date, forcing them to show the stores the trailer to show that it did come out today. Now, while I did play the game yesterday, because I know the manager of my local game store, I decided to walk downtown to see what was up. And we have 2 stores in town, so first, I went to Richard's store. He's the one I know. And true to the reports, the game was not out on the shelves. I went to Richard and I said, "Hey, Mighty No.9. Obviously, he said, I got the copy yesterday, and I told him the release date, showed in the video, and told him about the reports. Richard, confused, turned to the screen, and we started going through all of the shipment information on Concept's products. And, true to the reports, he had no release date. So, while the physical things existed in the stock room, no date has been given for them to be put out. So Richard was getting on the phone to Concept. While that was going on, I walked round the corner to the other game shop and asked them the same question. And they too did not have a release date on their system. And while rival companies, both of them worked together to figure out what was up. Eventually, both Richard and the manager I'm not friends with, Dave, got hold of Concept reps, inquiring about the release dates, quoting the online date that was available being the Masterclass trailer. That was the only date that was available, and what they found out was quite interesting. First, it turns out that the lack of date was an error on the part of the publisher and distributor Deep Silver. Keep what Concept said in mind there, as you might notice a pattern as we go through the later half of this review. After which, both reps had the same response, that all systems are going to be updated with a quote-unquote true release date. This date not being June 21st as the trailer states, but June 24th. And when questioned about the Masterclass trailer's date, both Dave and Richard got a response that can only be described as holy fucking shit. Concept and Inafune are really trying that shit. That shit being staggered release dates. Yes, in a digital age where anything can be made available worldwide with the press of a single button, Beck's daddy thought it would be a fantastic idea to stay in the Stone Age and make staggered release dates, with it out now in America on June 21st, here in the UK and Europe on June 24th, and the rest of the world, like Australia, God knows when. Naturally, some have already found out, hence the reports I got, which prompted me to walk into town to find out what was up, and by the time this review goes out, many more will have also found out. And it's going to leave a lot of Mighty No.9 fans pretty pissed. That is, if there are even any Mighty No.9 fans left. And I typed this up while I am in a call with friends, one from England and one from Australia, both of which are mad, but they don't care anymore. As like most hardcore gamers, shall we say, they have followed in Nikki, or as you might know her, NW Player's footsteps and cracked their Reviewz, allowing them to get on the American eShop and pirate it early. Or, now that it's out in America, have other hackers seed the ROM for download, just like how I got Planet Robobot a month early because Japan got it a whole month before the rest of the world. However, unlike Kirby, there is no errors. As stated, the managers say there is a full box of final finish games sitting there ready to go out. I've got one yesterday, so it's not like the game is not done. And because everybody knows it's finished, Pirate Bay has docked all of its ships and the pirates and pirateurs are out in full force. And honestly, I don't blame them. Not anymore. I mean, first off, backers and fans that wanted this have seen 4 delays over a year and a half and are tired of waiting. And knowing one country has it, but they don't, and they have to suffer through a 5th delay? Well, I think you will be fed up too. Second of all, it's a lesson AAA needs to learn. The age of staggered release dates are dead and gone. Physical or digital. In digital, people can press a button and get it worldwide. And if any publisher refuses to do so on such a thing as a digital game, especially on a PC, it's easy to break it. It does not take 2 minutes to find the source folder, mess with the .ini file, and crack it wide open to be modded and downloaded. Or, for physical, again, I know the copies are sitting there in that back room. I've seen them with my own 2 eyes. I'm physically holding one of them in my hand right now. So why are they being delayed from going out for another 3 days? What does Concept hope to gain from stopping people in the UK from getting it for another 3 days? And probably like another week in Australia, because it sure as shit ain't sales. If anything, they're going to gain more piracy from people who know it's out in other parts of the world and just want to play the fucking game after all this time. So, Concept, I hope Mighty No.9 gets pirated to shit, and I hope you learn your lesson that staggered release dates are now bullshit and obsolete. This is, of course, assuming you survive the storm that is coming from all of the shady shit that the world is speculating you did, and that speculation is only growing. But that's for after the review. For now, sit back and enjoy the review and stick around, as the rabbit hole only gets deeper from here. Also, some of the starting lines were recorded during E3, so if I say the game is coming out next week, now you know why. So, Mighty No.9 is set to release next week. Big outlets like a GameStop have got their copies. So, what does this mean? Well, this means that whatever version GameStop has is the final version. There's no saying, oh, it's a beta, or anything like that anymore. No, what you see here is what you get. And what you get is an absolutely mediocre looking mess that has cringe on the level of a pyro-cynical video. And all of Mighty No.9's problems can be summed up in the 3 boss fights that GameStop put up and the very first level. And since I know the game store's manager, I can get it a few days early and can try it out for myself. Now, I can't be asked to do any recording because the other review sites have done my work for me and give me exactly the clips to use to show off every single problem with this game. And considering all of the extra shit I'm going to have to do because of all of the shady shit Concept and Inafune have been pulling, that's just extra work I don't have time for due to another review I am recording, which is a lot better, and I'm working on that. So thanks, guys! As, again, the footage of the first level is enough of a train wreck to show all of the game's problems. And, as much as I don't want to, it's time to try Mighty No.9. Okay, guys, I'm back and oh my word, it's worse than I originally thought. So join me as we go over the scam that is Mighty No.9. And yes, I was right. It was as bad as I first thought, if not worse. You know what? I need to go eat some lunch before I do this. BRB again. Can you tell I'm stalling to try and show how it felt knowing that I had to play Mighty No.9? Okay, ein children, the luncheon has been consumed. So without any further delays, let's get into Mighty No.9. Actually, hold on, just got to delay it again to check my text and play Clicker Heroes for an hour. Nah, I'm just fucking with you for the Mighty Number delay joke that everyone is making, and will too after seeing what's been going down, as there might be more to them delays than meets the eye. So keep that in mind and we'll come back to that later. And I mean, really keep that one in mind. So, for those not in the know, here is the backstory. Keiji Inafune is the creative mind behind the Blue Bomber himself, Mega Man. After a long period of himself and Mega Man being dragged through the dirt with things like Legends 3 getting cancelled, he had had enough and left Capcom to start a Kickstarter with Mighty No.9, promising the Mega Man game Capcom would not make. Needless to say, all the Mega Man fanboys jumped on the idea, and the funding was met almost instantly, the hardcore fanboys spreading the word and getting other casual fans into the idea and investing into the project. And by the closing date, it made $4 million out of its original $900,000 goal. So we went $3.1 million over, so that's a lot of extra money to work with. Fast forward 2 weeks. After the project ended, Inafune had paid up all his tabs to places like Kickstarter and PayPal, showing that he had done so, and announced the start of Mighty No.9, it being a huge success and starting the indie Kickstarter revolution, with many other devs within the industry like Rare and Iga also quitting their jobs to make their own projects with Yooka-Laylee and Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, following the same pattern of Mighty No.9 and getting funded almost instantly. Then, everything went quiet. Months went by with no word to the public, only backers assuring everyone that they were getting concept art and such, and that it was being worked on. 5 months later, they were right, and the world got its first look at what people were calling, at the time, the Silver Bomber. It looked a bit different from some of his original designs and concepts, but it still looked fine. However, a lot of the text looked very beta, and it was missing some shading, so there was still work to be done. However, it was at this point we did get a first estimated release date of late spring 2015, so March-June time. Fast forward to June, and we got a statement from Inafune himself saying that the game was almost done, but there were still a few things left to do, so it's not going to be out in June. However, he did give a month, this time stating it would be out in September. And everyone accepted it, taking Shiggy's message to heart. A delayed game will eventually be good, but a rushed game will be forever bad. Thus seeing our first delay. September rolls around, and no game, just another message from Inafune, along the lines of, the game is finished and ready to go out. We just have a bit of bug testing and Q&A to do. So I'm going to have to delay it again, but it's done and the final release date has been picked, thus seeing the second delay. That date was November 26th, 2015. All the places like Amazon and GameStop were advertising it as this on their website. However, backers said it was a lie. I argued this point with Photon across the course of October and November, saying that Amazon is not changing it, which means it's happening. With Photon, again, a backer, saying that he has received no emails about it coming out in November or anything about his backer rewards, one of which includes getting the game a week before normal consumers. Odd. Why would companies have a release date but not the backers? We got to find out. Fast forward to November 25th, 2015. All shopping sites pulled the 26th release date down, replacing it with a to be announced sign. A few days passed, and then, at the end of November, backers got another email. In this email, backers received from Inafune was once again apologising, and, surprise, surprise, was talking about another delay, stating, "The engine we are using is no longer being updated, requiring additional programming work, and codes are being made manually." Now, this is starting to get pretty sketchy, as only last email he said the game was finished and he was bug testing. So why would you need extra coding? Not only that, but before you started this project, surely research would have been done onto what engines were best to use and what ones were going to be scrapped. At this point, many were becoming very skeptical and speculative of what was going on with Concept, especially after the Red Ash debacle that I'll bring up later once we're at the end of this. Still, the hardcore backers and believers showed us the emails and tried so hard to assure us that it was just because it had become so popular that it's coming out on other consoles. Which is true, it was originally only for PC, and here it is coming to everything else. And a Wii U is not an Xbox, so yeah, there might be a few bits of additional code that you need doing. So everyone smiled and accepted it with assurance on the email by Inafune himself that there would be no more delays and we could expect it in early 2016, thus seeing our third delay. Early 2016 came around and surprise, surprise, it was delayed again. At this point, everyone gave up on Mighty No.9. Backers were at the point of suing Concept and Inafune for scamming them after countless lies, empty promises, and false release dates. Others, like myself, no longer cared and just said, fuck it, just let me know when it comes out so I can review it. And even the hardcore Mega Man fanboys that started the whole thing were starting to doubt Inafune. As much as they did not want to, Photon has been adamant that Mighty No.9 is going to be good right till the bitter end. Even this fourth delay, he held out hope. In this fourth delay, Inafune said some bollocks about the online not working. At this point, it was too late. Nobody gave two shits anymore, with the response being, no one cares, release the game, add online later, like GTA did. 5 came out, and then GTA Online came out like 2 weeks later when it was ready. Once more, months passed, and as the world was starting to move on and forget about how they lost money to a shady Kickstarter, then, just when it was almost forgotten about, the Masterclass trailer got released. And, oh boy, it was something to behold. Completely missing what the game was intended to be, using pop culture references and memes to appeal to the kids, forgetting that this was supposed to be for the fans. Needless to say, it was cringeworthy at best, and at worst, well, look at that dislike bar. But the biggest kick in the balls was not making the bad guys cry like an anime fan on prom night, or the terrible CGI cutscenes like Beck saying, "Wait, what?" No, what really chived people's onions was how utterly shit it looked. No matter which way you slice it, there was not $4 million going into this. However, Concept made a statement, blaming Deep Silver and saying that they had nothing to do with the trailer, it was wrong for Deep Silver to publish it, and basically that the game didn't look like that. The trailer ending with even more insult to injury by touting that your pre-order bonus, if you decide to pre-order, was a quote-unquote retro, in the biggest quotation marks you can get, a quote-unquote retro skin. Even though it's a complete lie, it's just a Minecraft skin. Which they stole right off of Planet Minecraft. I mean, look at it. It's pretty much exactly the same. They just made the knee pads and bracelets and stuff protrude outwards a bit more. Also, before you say that Concept did it first, nah, High Paladin here did it 2 years ago when the Kickstarter first came out, even asking people in his description to go back the project. But Concept seemed to have said, "Well, Minecraft is popular, so let's make a skin for that, and we can call it retro as OMG, look at that Minecraft graphics, they're so shit and pixely, that's totes retro, right?" Which loops us back round to today and the game review about Mighty No.9, which I don't even need to do a full review of because, as stated, A, everything can be summed up in the first level, and B, this is more about the story and what comes next. So yeah, Mighty No.9 was bad. Like, really bad. And keep in mind that this is a $4 million project. Everything I'm about to show you here is $4 million in the making. Leaving the graphics to last, as that's where the shady shit starts to come up and we really get to see how deep the rabbit hole goes. So, for start off, there's next to no animation. We load into the tutorial level with Dr. Shite giving bootleg Mega Man a speech about robots going crazy, with just an open mouth. No movement required. Same for this guy on TV, saying he didn't do it while all the time having a slack jaw, making him more look like a human-shaped voice box rather than a real person. And of course, the now famous casual bot.
Uh-oh. A security bot. And it's out of control, like all the others.
Yeah, look out, Beck. That robot's gone completely psycho. He's totally out of control. I mean, look at him. He's very, very, very casually standing there, slightly tilting his head, minding his own business. The absolute madman. Quick, Beck, run. Get out. Get out of here! There, he's so out of control and unstable. He could snap at any moment and go Super Saiyan on your ass. Oh no! Oh god! The horror! It's mass hysteria! All the chaos and destruction! All the innocent life gone! It is too graphic to even show. I would get kicked off of YouTube if I showed this level of bloodshed. But for you guys, just for you guys, I'll show you 3 seconds so you can get a feel for how out of control this guy is. If you are of a nervous disposition or a weak stomach, I suggest you look away now. Did you see it? Did you see that? He moved his arm very casually and moved his head again. Oh, all them innocent people cut down by this madman. Beckman, you gotta take him down. He's too dangerous to be left alive. Oh, thank you, Beck. You truly are a hero to us all. What's the matter, Concept? $4 million not enough to animate him firing a gun or something to show how out of control he is. And this ties into the gameplay itself. Everything feels so very slow and stilted. You see, a lack of animation makes all the enemies and bosses have no energy. Most of them are either bolted to the wall like this snake thing, or just casually glide back and forth like this Roomba, or the famous casual bot. So it just results in you just running past the enemies as you have to finish them with a dash, which is just tedious. Can't just jump and shoot, you know, what Mega Man is famous for. Instead, you have to use that shitty ass combo system that they just threw in there to try and, I don't even know, something bullshit with the ranking system, which is bollocks. Like, it's supposed to be a reason to fight to get a good rank at the end, but from what I've played, getting an A rank does nothing, and it's far too tedious to get an A rank in the first place, so don't even bother. Literally, just run past as many enemies as you can. And of course, the lack of animation, as mentioned, also makes the bosses so bad. I mean, look at this fight with Fireman, and I want you to keep in mind, this fight is GameStop's scripted video. It has been made in such a scripted way to show off this boss, rather than using his weakness to completely break him and the game. And all the way through this, you will have noticed that there's nothing. He just runs from one side of the screen to the other, then jumps, occasionally makes an explosion, and most of the bosses are like that. It's move one side of the screen to the other and occasionally do a special attack. Because as you can see here, you get that nice play on Fireman here. The bosses need to be slow and lifeless so you can get that combo off, which just makes them all very lackluster. And the lacklusterness is not helped by their designs being nothing but bootlegs of everything under the sun. Number one, it's a bootleg Fireman, nothing else. Number two, she's a big daddy, and she looks so much better in her original concept design when she was an actual girl rather than this big daddy. Number 8, Cowboy Raiden. And as for fucking number 7, it's Kill the Kill's Ruko. Like, this is the one you didn't even try on. I mean, fucking look at this. That is the scissor blade. You didn't even try to hide it. It's exactly the same shape and even has the red colour on it. It's even got the little point, you know, the little pointy bit next to that hole. They didn't even try. That is the scissor blade. Even on the concept art of him, right there, it turns into a scissor. Also, his battle takes place at sunset, like every one of Ruko's battles ever when she has Zangetsu powered up. I mean, I get it, Inafune. Ruko is a hot badass chick. I mean, I'm more of a new girl myself, but you can't outright steal her weapon like that. So, I guess all that's left to say is,
don't lose your way. Your mind free how to be as you want. Don't be afraid. Must be done. This is the way to be more strong. Help of my deep secret. Make us be.
Speaking of singing, how about that voice acting? But first, a quick sidestep to, even though this is the most basic ass shit with no animations, it still has frame rate issues. Like, to the point where it's rumoured that it can be dangerous and damage your Wii U. I mean, first, how do you fuck up the frame rate this bad? Something this basic should not have frame rate issues. And second, how do you fuck it up so much that it can damage the hardware? It's like the how do you fuck up Tetris question. I guess the same answer to that question applies when you're developed by Concept. How can you not fuck up the frame rate? Oh wait, I know. Just adding this now as I'm recording it, it's because they don't give two shits. Apparently, last night they had a live stream and they said this. Okay, so here is the tweet. I am now going to replay this clip with the volume so you can hear what Mr. Concept here said about $4 million worth of money that everybody, all the fans, all you fans out there, Photon, here's what all your money went to.
And at the end of the day, even if it's not perfect, it's better than nothing. At least that's my opinion.
Yeah, he said that. He said that. Needless to say, people aren't too happy, you know. With that attitude, Concept and Inafune deserve the shit that they're getting, and, you know, we're going to cover the shady shit that they're doing pretty soon. You know, everybody's making silly gifs like, ha ha ha, I got your money, oh, the nerve. You know, this is probably the best one. Nothing wouldn't have cost $4 million and the reputation. And, of course, the one that Vinny made for Young Conker. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And all the tweets on this particular post, they're not stopping. Like, I've refreshed this several times, and more tweets are coming in by the second with people expressing their, you know, you're some kind of moron, you know that, yeah. Many people are expressing their displeasement at the words that Concept says. There is another funny meme there of everybody face palming and everybody laughing at the idiocy that Concept is proving. So that's that. We're gonna go back to this documentary that we're doing here, and we're gonna finish off with the actual review part, and then I'm gonna tell you about all the shady shit which might have been proven true. It's better than nothing. So I'm just gonna play that clip. I got Camtasia, and I'm just going to switch over to a Camtasia clip I recorded so you can see all the responses. Yes, they actually said that. That tweet. I can't believe this. I don't believe what I'm hearing. So, first of all, it has frame rate issues. Second of all, they've literally just admitted that they don't give a shit, and we haven't even begun this review yet, like, we haven't even gone into the graphics, and there's still so much shit to go over. Like, I can't go over everything that is wrong with my No.9. It just has so many issues. Like, a few I'm going to gloss over, but they're still there. It has ridiculous load times, like literally 45 seconds if you die, screen tearing, screen glitching, and while I have not seen it myself, I have been told that sometimes you can even still see the Windows 10 installer button. Like, apparently it was on that stream. I mean, what the fuck? 4 million. Oh, and it's better than nothing. 4 million and it's better than nothing. I actually, like, across the course of this day, I didn't think it could get any worse. Like, I heard the rumours about the staggered release dates today, and I walked into town thinking, if this is true, it can't get any worse. Then I come home, record more lines, and I hear this shit that it's better than nothing. Oh, and that it's better than nothing statement? Bad move, Inafune, as it's only going to damn you even further at the end of this. But back to that voice acting. Yes, a Mega Man game has voice acting, and while it's not on the legendary levels of cringe of find the energy crystals and we'll find Dr. Wowie, it's still pretty cringy, of which we have the Big Daddy from BioShock as our prime example. However, we will start with Warman. As you will see throughout this fight that I'm going to play for you in its entirety, throughout the boss fight, there is really cheesy banter between the two.
Pyro! Finally!
You! Why you not burn? Why you not burn?
Uh-oh.
Burn!
lovely. Oh, but that's one of the least obnoxious bosses. Big Daddy here and Fireman take that to a whole new level. A rather familiar level. You see, not only does she speak throughout the boss fight, but she makes pew 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 noises through the fight. Again, here is the clip in its entirety, and I want you to first listen to how many times she says pew pew pew, but as pointed out by Console and others that have seen it, they notice that she says pew 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 to indicate rapid fire while only dropping 1, maybe 2 projectiles.
You just refuse to chill out, don't you, Runt? Well, I'm sure it's nothing a little cold shower won't cure. Hold on! Hold on!
Notice it? Good, because it turns out that they have messed up the audio somewhere along the lines and thrown random sound clips into random places in the fight. Like back to Warman. Every time he jumps, he says Beck's name.
Suppressing fire!
What? Why? That's not a jumping sound. And with Fireman, well...
Burn! Burn! Burn!
Sound familiar?
To the ground! Burn! Burn! Burn to the ground! Burn! Burn to the ground! Burn! Burn to the ground! Burn to the ground!
Oh, and we're not done yet, because here is a clip of IGN playing the first level, and if you listen here...
Dr. Sanda's calling. Sanda, what's the matter?
What's the matter? What the bleeding heck do you think's the matter? Are you okay, Will?
Oh, fine. Fine. More or less. And yourself?
Less than fine. Much less. These robots gone wild are tearing the place apart. I've sealed myself in the lab, but who knows how long before they break through?
Understood. We were already on our way. You try to hold them off as best you can.
Oh yes. Oh yes. There is talking throughout the entire game. They never shut up, and the voice acting is pretty bad. Again, it's not on the level of Dr. Wowie or All Toasters, Toast Toast, but it's pretty subpar. And with that, it leads on to the last thing for this review before we get into the real juicy parts, and that is the graphics, which look like absolute shit, to put it nicely. Everything looks like it's off a PS1 or an N64, and that's no joke. I mean, hell, even N64 games look better than this shit. I mean, let's take this fire on Fireman's stage. Look at the fire on either side. That almost looks like the free Snapchat fire. And you know what? Comparing them, or seems it's not a pillar, comparing it to the fire in the first level, I'm not entirely convinced that Concept did not just steal it off of Snapchat and give it a coat of HD paint, and that's putting it really generously, as nothing is in HD. Again, even fucking Chameleon Twist's fire looks better than this. I mean, look! And, of course, Chameleon Twist is a more fun game, especially once you get to level 3 and onwards with the Candyland and the mansion with the possessed billiard ball shogun. I mean, like, seriously, Nintendo, get that shit on the eShop, you're missing out. Oh, and, no, I did not forget our good old friend, Pizza Explosion. I mean, what is that? Come on, Concept. I know you don't need to put any effort in, as you have already stated.
And at the end of the day, even if it's not perfect, it's better than nothing. At least that's my opinion.
But that is bad even for you. But it's like Sonic says, he will be there for us on prom night with some tasty pizza. And normally, this is where the show would end. A reviewer plays a shitty Greenlight Mega Man clone on Steam and gives it a bad score before the world moves on. Only, this is not a shit Greenlight Mega Man clone. This is a shit $4 million Kickstarter clone that leaves reviewers and critics wondering where the fuck $4 million went, as it's certainly not into this game, with many now making things like Dust vs Mighty 40k versus 4 million to show how much was done with a fraction of the price so much better, and left backers wondering where the fuck their copies are. As yes, notice how at the beginning of this video I said only big outlets have been getting copies? Yeah, the backers, you know, the ones that funded the project, have not even got their rewards. Hell, they've not even got their digital copies yet. Like, here is a conversation with Photon, who sank $80 into this. Fucking nothing. Which is now causing people to make videos like this one. Inafune is a slimy bastard and I want my $20 back. And can you blame them? I mean, they've sank money into something that was delayed over and over and over again, only to get a mediocre thing that was not what they were promised, and even then, still never physically got it. And it is to the point where it prompts everyone to do research and find out just what the fuck is going on at Concept. And as people delve deeper, it seems that there is a lot going on. First off, their history on this journey, both Inafune and Concept, are a bunch of liars. A bunch of liars that like to play the game blame with everyone, but not themselves. For they are free of blame, you see. The first delay, bug fixes. It's the bug's fault. That woman that was outright banning backers from the forums, her fault or her fault, not ours, you know, the people that hired her. The third delay, the engine is not supported anymore, Unity's fault or Unity's fault for pulling support. Not our fault for failing to research the engine. The Masterclass trailer, Deep Silver's fault, not ours. Nope, it's their fault. They commissioned the video, their fault. You know, even though they should be keeping an eye on it. And again, today when I went into town and there was no release dates for the English and we had to ring up Concept representative, again, Deep Silver's fault for failing to tell the game stores what date it was, not theirs. So every time something goes wrong, they're quick to find an excuse and play the blame game. I'm not entirely convinced that it was not Concept that made that Masterclass trailer and let Deep Silver upload it, as if it goes wrong, then they have Deep Silver as the fall guys. At this point, they're starting to sound a little bit like Randy Pitchford. But here's where all the really good stuff comes in. I'm not a backer, so I don't have access to the full picture. And even knowing backers like Photon, that only does so much for someone like me that's not on the journey. So, here is 2 annotations on screen to a backer that has been documenting the whole thing. But that's the past. We are talking about the here and now day 1 release. And after doing research, it turns out that Concept's Randy Pitchford-like nature goes deeper than we all first realised. Let's turn back the clocks to last year. Mighty No.9's Kickstarter was a success, and the game was in the making. But rather than just simply finish the game and use the money from the finished game to fund the next one like any normal person, Concept and KG Pitchford decided it would be a really smart idea to do 3, yes, 3 more Kickstarters all at the same time. One for a Mighty No.9 anime, one for a Red Ash anime, and the third for the Red Ash game. All 3 were sleazy as shit, constantly changing what the funding goals were and what exactly the money was going towards. And when people started clocking on and Concept knew that the Kickstarters, more specifically the Red Ash one, was going to fail, they randomly announced out of nowhere that, oh, never mind, Red Ash is now being funded by a Chinese company called Reviewz, and your money is going to extra shit. Reviewz, by the way, is a very unknown Chinese company with no real online presence, with the only 2 things on them being this Linkster page and this IGN page, and their own website that I would advise against going on, as when you do, if you've got adblock on, it's going to go through the roof, and you will probably want to scan your PC afterwards, so I would advise against it. Reviewz's greatest, and it seems only achievements, are funding Red Ash, the Kakariko incident, and making this bootleg Xbox One that I'm sure is going to sell great. Let me know how that court case with Microsoft goes, will you, lads? Now, as Jim Sterling put it in one of his videos, business deals and funding contracts like these are not easy 10-minute phone calls. They can take days, even weeks, which means that this deal was long in place before Concept decided to announce it. But here's the fun part. These deals, especially like the one that Reviewz made, are not free. From my one little birdie at Nintendo that serves as a kind of janitor/water boy that empties the office bins, and when there is a meeting like this going on, he brings the executives like water and cakes for them to eat while they're discussing things, he told me deals like this can take up to 5 to 6 hours, as we already know. A representative or an executive from a company will come to Nintendo with a physical contract for Nintendo to look over and for both parties to make changes to and such until they're both happy with the contract. With what Reviewz did, a meeting would kind of go something like this. Contract would be brought to Keiji Inafune and Concept, and both parties would look at it and change it until the agreement is made. Then the dev, being Concept, would offer up a sum of money basically as a deposit. So if the game were to bomb completely, it's not a total loss for Reviewz, and this deposit will ensure the constant flow of resources from Reviewz, like PCs, extra funding, and such that would be needed for the completion of the project, now that a deposit has been made to gain Reviewz's interest and constant investment. But wait a minute, Inafune had no money to make a game. So where the fuck did he pull the money to make this business deal from? Yeah, I think you know where this is going. Now, this is merely an allegation, and it is true that Concept have done enough and have money of their own, and it is possible that Concept and their bank money could have paid for Reviewz's devotion to the project. But then, Inafune opened his mouth, only deepening the rabbit hole of allegations and making people's speculations grow, proudly saying in an interview with Polygon how he has big plans for Mighty No.9 2, and Mighty No.9 the animated series, and Mighty No.9 the live action movie. All of these being talked about with the first game not even out yet. With these new allegations forming that money from the Kickstarter was not used in the game, but instead some of that money is being used to fund or kickstart these 3 Mighty No.9 products that Inafune has big plans for, well, I think all the pieces are coming together, aren't they? And again, while only allegations, it's becoming harder and harder to disprove it. The Dust vs. Mighty, 40k versus 4 million type of videos are now starting to surface at an alarming rate, with Mighty No.9 being compared to other indie games that did not need 4 million and have come out 1,000 times better than this, and showing that no matter which way you slice it, 4 million was not put into this game. So how much of that 4 million is missing? It's clear as crystal that it's not all here, and people are getting hungry for answers. Some backers even attempting to put a lawsuit together against Inafune for false advertisement, with other backers like Photon making videos to encourage it, as this does not look like this. And Cryo, rather than looking like her own unique android-like character, has been turned into little more than a Big Daddy knockoff. Like the lying snake Randy Pitchford, Concept and Inafune have played everyone for fools, and across these 2 years constantly blown smoke up everyone's arses. And from the lack of communication between developer and backer and the shady shit that they have been doing behind closed doors, we may never know how much of it is true or how much of that 4 million they have squirreled away forever, or where the missing money truly went. As it stands right now, the game officially releases tomorrow at time of typing, today at time of recording and editing. There is minor backlash, but people have seen the real review sites like IGN, and they've got the final thing in their hands. There is no getting out of it, and people are not pleased just from looking at that. And everyone buying it for themselves and having to pay $30 for the game they've waited forever for, it's only going to worsen the backlash. All I can say is I hope Concept and Inafune have got a deep, thick bunker to hide in, as a huge shitstorm is coming, and he better be ready, as any trust in Concept or the man himself is now gone, eroded away with the train wreck of a project that is Mighty No.9 and all the shady shit like Red Ash that was going on alongside it. It is possible that KG is not going to be able to make another Kickstarter ever again. You know, the game he sought to replace Mega Man and make fans happy is probably going to be the thing that will destroy him, as after all this mistrust and him not giving a shit with this.
And at the end of the day, even if it's not perfect, it's better than nothing. At least that's my opinion.
I doubt him or Concept will ever be able to get any kind of successful Kickstarter again, and as for the main company of Concept, I doubt anybody's going to trust them with any game they develop ever again. And you want to know the real worst part about all this? Beck and Inafune himself were already replaced well before they even started. There is a fantastic indie game on Steam that I'll leave a link to in the description called 20XX that is getting positive reviews across the board, and it is the Mega Man game that fans were after. As you can see here, the top comment is even, buy this if you're sick of waiting for Mighty No.9. And he's right. Everyone is sick of waiting, and this game came along with real time, real effort, and real care put into it. And it's amazing. A true successor to Mega Man. And 20XX is still only in beta. They want your feedback. They want player feedback on how to make it better. Unlike Bootleg No.9 and its creator that is just like, you got it now, it's better than nothing. Also, as I was recording this, that Windows 10 thing has now been proven true. My mistake, it does not show up in game, but people who got it on Steam cannot install it, because even though they're trying to install it via the Steam installer, Windows 10 thinks you're trying to install a virus, as this guy says.
But it's fucking broken! It was delayed 5 million fucking times and it doesn't work. It's literally not where Windows 10 is like thinking it's a virus. The game doesn't fucking work. You had $4 million fucking dollars. $4 million. Fuck you.
Honestly, I would not put it past KG Pitchford if there was a virus in that game. So, real quick here, as this is like 40 minutes long, final verdict. So, final verdict for Mighty No. 9 is a absolutely fucking terrible 1 out of 5. Terrible graphics that make the N64 and the PS1 look like a PS3, frame rate issues, graphical issues, potentially damaging your hardware if you have a disc version, Windows 10 saying that the digital version potentially has a virus on it, so for safety it's not installing that shit, forgettable levels, and a stilted, boring combat system that is so much of a chore, it's just easier to run past all of the enemies. Couple all of this with a shady Kickstarter and behind-the-scenes doings with people like Reviewz, failing to give backers the rewards they paid for, Mighty No. 9 is on the levels of that Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric in terms of actual game, a cheap basement level production that is trying to cash in on nostalgia for nostalgia's sake, and on the level Aliens Colonial Marines with all of the lying and the shady underhandedness that Randy Pitchford pulled. So, all in all, Mighty No. 9 is trying to be Mega Man without realising what made the original Mega Man so great, and it should be ashamed of itself to call itself the spiritual successor to Mega Man. But hey, it's better than nothing, right? I mean, in honesty, it's pretty much fucking wash. It's 0 out of 5. It only gets that 1 gem for 2 robots that I like, and that is Electra and Cryo's beta design. Like, the Big Daddy one looks pretty shit, but original Cryo looks like an android there. She's alright. That's the only reason it gets a 1 out of 5. Otherwise, it's just a broken, complete wash. Oh, and it's got a shit online mode that nobody cared about and had no reason being there. 20XX, on the other hand, it has some issues, yes, but it's not quite finished. But already, it's a 3 out of 5. Great, fun, fast-paced gameplay, done in a beautiful pixel art style that looks like Mega Man X, with a fantastic soundtrack. I mean, just listen to this. With a team that's devoted to fixing the issues and making it perfect for when it comes out of early access. It is more fitting and well deserving of the title of the real Mega Man successor. Fuck Mighty No. 9, that's bootleg Mega Man. 20XX, that is the true spiritual successor to Mega Man. Good job, guys. I can't wait to see what you're going to do as it moves through its early access journey out of early access, because already it's 3 out of 5. It's far better than Mighty No. 9, and it's got an online mode people actually care about.